every Tuesday morning we've been getting together for almost, I don't know, I think we've gotten together probably 8 times, maybe more. We get together on Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock. We share a cup of coffee. I'm going to take off my big sandwich background so I don't keep disappearing here. And we've had a wonderful regular group of anywhere between 4 and 8 people. And as we, let me, 1 second, I'm distracted. There we go, into my little den. And as we have talked about everything from showing off our pets to just life in general, we decided, hey, you know what? There are a lot of restaurants out there that we wish we could be having coffee at. And the first one, of course, that came to mind was Kenny and Ziggy's. If we could just sit down with a piece of babka in our coffee or a arugula, that would have made us smile. And it brought about the idea that why don't we feature for the next few weeks, if not longer, a virtual ability to meet in the places that we love and miss, maybe hear a little bit from the restaurateur, specifically Jewish restaurants that we're trying to make sure can make a living during this time of quarantine. So we don't have the babka. That would have been great if I had thought ahead and sent babka to everybody, right, Ziggy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have the babka. We could have.
You know, I have to say that we missed it so much that we tried to make babka here at our house.
Right.
We did okay. We did okay, but my wife, she made the cinnamon babka. I needed the chocolate. I have to say, I needed the chocolate. So we'll have to get down the street and get a piece of your wonderful babka. But anyway, so this is the first of hopefully a series. Next week we are going to be joined by I think Avi Katz or somebody from Katz's Coffee, which is also featured at Kenny and Ziggy's.
We don't use Avi's coffee anymore.
Oh, you don't use Avi's anymore? Okay, I won't falsely advertise. But
I used Avi's for many years, and Avi is a great guy, but unfortunately, too many people gave us a hard time, and we tried every one of his coffees. So what we've been using for the last couple of years is I was approached when Chock full of Nuts was bought, and they asked us they'd like to do an artisan coffee for us. So then people loved it ever since.
Very good. Well, so but next week we'll learn a little bit about the kind of the philanthropic elements of Avi's efforts. He will often, like what I'm drinking right now, is coffee that supports the bat colonies of the world, and he has ones that support elephants and the bird sanctuaries, and it's very, very nice. So. But today we are joined by our favorite deli man, the most famous deli man at this point, I think, in the entire country, Ziggy Gruber, and we're going to spotlight Ziggy. Ziggy, we are hoping that you would share with us a little bit about just kind of some of the challenges of keeping things going in this time, but then just whatever, we are entertained by all of your stories, and then we might have some questions that we'll ask later.
Sure. I mean, this has definitely been an event like none of us have ever seen. And in the business world, especially the restaurant business, I've been doing this for over 40 years. And I've been through recessions, and I've been through, you know, all different types of hurricanes and other events, but nothing like this. I mean, this is just beyond anyone's comprehension. I keep on telling people it's like being in a Ray Bradbury novel, because you can't believe that this is happening. It's very science fiction. So what we've done is, in one respect, we're very lucky that being a deli, it was easier for us compared to a lot of other restaurants to pivot, where we do a lot of takeout and we do a lot of delivery service, that we could pivot to curbside very easily. which helped us tremendously in the beginning of all of this. And we are very fortunate that we have a very large shipping business. So we ship across the country, all over. We schlep it wherever you are. I mean, we've been sending a lot of stuff to New York, Florida, and Los Angeles, and Las Vegas, and Kansas City, through goldbelly.com. So we've been doing about 100 orders a day, and that has actually helped us keep the lights on. And just, you know, for about the last 3 or 4 weeks, now we're allowed to have diners come into the restaurant. Now, I'm very fortunate at Post Oak. It's a very large space. So I can basically space out the tables in a very comfortable way where everybody is 6 feet apart. I haven't figured out how to do it in my other store because it's a very narrow subway car store. So it doesn't matter if they tell you you can be open, you know, 25, 50, 75%. It's 75% as long as you are meeting the guidelines of the 6 feet separation. So a lot of restaurants are going to have difficulty, and I do definitely have that difficulty with the Buffalo Speedway store. But I'm very fortunate that we've retained all of our staff, everyone that wanted to come back. There's a couple of people that are sitting on the sidelines because they have diabetes and stuff, and they didn't want to basically, they didn't want to come into the store because they didn't want to risk it, which is not a problem. They'll have their job when everything gets cleared up. But it's very shocking that everybody came back. And right now I have both stores working under one roof.
Okay, so we if we wanted to, we could get a fresh meal at the Post Oak store. Not a fresh meal, a live meal.
Well, you get a live meal. We have people that wait outside there. When somebody comes to the door, we take their temperature. If they don't have a mask, we will provide them one with a mask if they would like, and we take them to their table. And there, you know, like I said, everything is very spread apart, and everyone's been feeling very comfortable. And lately, more and more people are starting to come out. I mean, it was definitely very slow going with people feeling comfortable in eating in the dining room. But I am seeing a lot of my older customers and a lot of my families coming into the store. So it's been very, 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 you know, heartfelt to see all of that, that people are coming out again. But we are very cautious and we are very protective. You know, I treated the whole restaurant. Not many restaurants or places have done this. I saw there was a treatment that was developed up in the Woodlands called Nano Shield. And it is a dry, what do you call it, sanitized process that all the hospitals are using, where they basically treat every surface where no microorganisms can live for 3 months. So you got to do this treatment every 3 months. So we treated the whole restaurant and every surface, as well as you know, naturally we use our sanitizers to clean between people, and we only wear masks and gloves, all my people, and everything like that. We have definitely made it so that we can make it the safest environment that we can human possibly be.
Oh, that's so fantastic to hear. What has been have you noticed any shifts in the way people order during COVID? Like, were you selling tons of corned beef at one point, and now you're selling more turkey? Or
you know, it's very funny. You know, when this first went down, you know, everybody we sell a lot of salami, but I never sold salami like this. people, every other person that was ordering for Curbside was ordering regular salami and hard salami, and I was because I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of salamis. So I don't know if it reverted where people wanted to go to the comfort, or they felt, you know, something reminiscent when they were a kid or whatever it is. But it's not just my store. A lot of the delis, we were all talking and said, I couldn't believe how much salami we were selling for some reason. Naturally, we always sell a lot of corned beef and pastrami. Also, another thing is, you would have swore it was Yontif over there because we sold more chicken soup than you could shake a stick at. Of quarts a day. I mean, it was, but you know, they say that, you know, because chicken soup is a bone broth, it helps your immunity, you know, keeps it up. So, I mean, I can see why people can order something like that. And it's also very comforting, you know.
When they were ordering salamis, were they ordering the whole salami that hangs, or were they ordering it sliced?
Well, some people ordered chunks. Some people ordered whole salamis. Some people wanted it sliced. I mean, it came all different ways.
Yeah. I remember in my childhood, we always had a hard salami hanging in our closet. Always. There was never a week that went by that if we ran out, my family was ordering them either from New York or from Los Angeles.
Right.
And in those days, you could have that salami hanging there until they were like a baseball bat. I never see them that hard anymore.
Well, we have them that hard. If you want it, we have to hang it. They change the rules how you hang it, but we hang them in the walk-ins all the time, and we have the hard salami. So if you ever want a piece or sliced or whatever.
Ah, the secret stash. This is great. So I think folks have some questions and stuff. Do we want to go back to like a gallery view to allow people to? Do you want to? Yeah, and we can send some questions into the chat if people know how to use the chat. Right now, we had a question from Barbara Mandelstein. She wanted to know if you were going to be opening the Buffalo Deli anytime soon.
I haven't figured out, Barbara, how to do it because it's so narrow. I would only have about, 3 or 4 tables because of the proximity of the distance between that store. So I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know what we're going to do. It really depends how long this is going to be. I mean, we couldn't do enough volume to bring in a whole crew now at that point with not having all those tables to be used. So we'll see what happens with that.
And are you still doing curbside pickup there? So if we want curbside pickup, we pick it up at the Post Oak. The other one's completely closed down.
The other store is completely temporarily closed.
Yeah. Well, this is great. I guess there's no outdoor seating in any of the locations, is there?
Outdoor seating at Buffalo, but look. There's a couple of seats, but the reality is we're in Houston here, and it's now 9 degrees. Who wants to sit and schwitz while they're eating? I know I can't, and most Jewish people are not going to sit outside. It's not.
Yeah, that's right. We have a question from our director of lifelong learning. He asked, "What are the menu items that hold up best in curbside?" That he said probably not the Reuben, but what are the things that hold up best if you're going to schlep it home?
If you're going to schlep it home, regular sandwiches like corned beef and pastrami, number one. All the sandwiches definitely will hold up. If you're going to order a Reuben, I would suggest you order it closed faced rather than open the way we normally do it. That'll hold up better for you. Soups hold up. The entrees hold up fantastic, like a brisket dinner or a Hungarian goulash or stuffed cabbage. We've been selling a lot of Romanian steaks. That's been going pretty well. naturally, we've been selling. Oh, you know what's funny? I've been selling a lot of kishka. I don't. Another one, comforting. A lot of kishka. Like we were. I said the other day. I go, man, we sell kishka, but not like that. I mean, it was a lot. I think last week we sold like 300 pounds of kishka. It was like, man, that was a lot.
Oh, that is great. Another favorite. Although I have to say, growing up, I still love kishka, but I used to love the kishka of my childhood because the casing was edible. Now,
Yeah.
now the casing isn't edible.
No, what happened was the health department said on the gidarim, on the skin, the bungus, that you can't do it because it can create listeria.
Oh,
And so that's that. So they had no choice but to go away from it, And years ago, also used to use Henzelich. Henzelich was from the necks of
the chicken necks, yeah, and the
but
turkey.
yeah, you can't find it. You can't find that too much either. It's very difficult.
I imagine a time-consuming effort as well to kind of get the
Yeah.
chicken neck off, and then you stuff it with the kishka. And kishka should be from the kishkas, though. It shouldn't be from the henzela.
No, well, the Hansel, you know what I mean. It's what they do, especially in Hungary. They do that with goose.
Ah, well, then you can't call it a henzela. You got to call it gusela. I feel like a traitor, Ziggy. I received a beautiful delivery from your probably good friend from Zingerman's up in Ann Arbor.
Okay, yeah, I'm very friendly with Ari.
And I received a wonderful Jewish rye.
Okay.
And they make a good rye there.
He has a very nice bakery. Before this COVID thing, Ari never met me. I really never met Ari. We basically have emailed each other. So he invited me to come up there. I went up to the Detroit area and we sat down there and he showed me his operation. His operation is not what I would consider a Jewish deli. It's not. His is a very, it's almost, it's even more. See, I think Zabar's is more of a deli than his place is really a gourmet, real. I mean, because they have a place that makes ice cream. They have their own roasters. They have their own bread company. They have all that. My friend makes their corned beef and pastrami for them.
Yeah.
Friend Ginsburg, he makes it for them. So I met Cy there as well, and it was a very interesting operation. They are very nice people, very.
I was born in Detroit. My family's in Detroit. Our go-to Detroit deli was Pickle Barrel, which I have questions about pickles up on the chat line here. But are they still around, Pickle Barrel, or?
When I was there, Cy took me to the few delis there. I met the owner of Bread Basket.
Yeah.
Alex, he was a nice guy. And I met a nice family. They own Stage and Company. There was a couple of other little delis that I went to that I forget the names, but what was it? It's definitely different, the way they do things up there than what I'm used to either in New York or Los Angeles.
Well, you certainly have imported New York into Houston, and it is such a blessing. But the question that they asked about pickles was about are we able to get your sours and your fresh dills?
Now we have the half sours, no problem. When the COVID first came up, I put so many pickles because we go through such a volume, in the barrel. So we only had sour pickles for a while because they cured. It's the same pickle. One cures 15 days and the other one cures longer than that. So people are like, what do you mean I got no half sours? I said, listen, this COVID thing, nobody's schlepping nothing anywhere. I said, we're lucky to have the sour pickles. So we have half sours again, and everything is perfect. We are definitely having some issues with the supply chain. I've been having issues finding briskets and some plates of meat to make corned beef and pastrami. I mean, I was paying something like $3-4 a pound for briskets, and now they're up to like $8 and more. Yeah, I mean, they went up like I've never seen before, but we're lucky to get them. So we've been getting that. Right now, there's a cream cheese shortage, which I scrambled yesterday to extract as much cream cheese as I could, because we go between the bagels and the lox and all the cheesecakes that we make, for our restaurant, as well as the Cake Works Bakery. We bake for about 60 other restaurants in town. Wow. So that was definitely a challenging thing. So this has been quite challenging, and hopefully the supply chain will get better.
Well, I have two questions about the supply chain that I think people would find interesting, and from the perspective of deli. The first is going back to this pickle issue. If you say that the pickles that are half sours, the only difference is how long they sit in the brine.
Right.
How can any place that sells half sours in the store, right, in the jar, by the time you get it, they're going to be sours? Well,
they put a lot of they put some other stuff in there. When I say preservatives, I mean naturally they're all preserved, but they add some agents that make sure it doesn't sour as quickly.
Ah, okay. So the key is to maybe look at the date. If you want a half sour and you don't want it to be 3/4 sour, look at the date of when they were pickled and eat them quickly.
Right. Well, I mean, and also the one thing I always had compared to New York, because I schlep a lot of the pickles in from New York, we got barrels on the way coming down here in this 90-degree heat, and going around. What do you call it? It basically accelerates the fermentation process.
Interesting. We had another question about your baking, because we all love it so much. Do you actually do it at the Post Oak location, or is it elsewhere?
We have on Long Point, we have a wholesale bakery operation. I have about 8 bakers, and we bake for all our Kenny and Ziggy's cookies, cakes, and everything else. And I bake for a bunch of restaurants and caterers. Not too much in the caterers these days. There's no catering. But what was it? But for a lot of restaurants, and we make a lot of different cakes that we don't even sell at the deli. We make we make Italian cream cakes, we make tres leches, we make what do you call it? Tiramisu and different truffle cakes and things like that. We make a whole bunch of stuff that I don't do at the deli.
Do you do it under another name, or is it under the Kenny and Ziggy's name?
It's under Kenny and Ziggy's Cake Works.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'll tell you, my wife's absolute favorite cake, hands down in the world, is your 7-layer chocolate cake. Yeah. My mom, a few years ago, for my wife's birthday, and it was just the 4 of us in the house. My mom from San Diego thought, I'll get Becky her favorite cake. So she ordered a whole cake. It comes to our house. We've got 4 people. The whole cake is made to feed like probably 50.
Yeah. People love a big piece of cake. It is. It's massive.
Oh my goodness. So here's my second supply chain question. I was in Los Angeles. We love deli. My whole family is obsessed with deli growing up. And a couple of years ago, went down to the downtown Los Angeles deli. Is that Langer's?
Yeah, 7th and Alvarado.
Famous for their pastrami and their tongue, I believe.
Yes.
So they were, we ordered the pastrami, fantastic. They cut it thick, which is something that surprised me. I'd never had thick cut. You usually have it thin.
Well, you got to understand. You got to understand something. They hand cut everything. They steam it very, very soft, the pastrami, and they hand cut it. So you have to. So it's very seam. That's why it's thick cut. That's why it has to be very, very soft, almost like falling apart.
It is really very, very tasty. The different style, but it's tasty.
Style, they don't make their own pastrami. They buy it from a gentleman in Burbank, RC Provisions, and the guy has been making their pastrami for many, many years, and he does a pretty good job.
So here's my supply chain question that came kind of from him, and I wonder if it affects you as well. Is he said that tongue, which used to be like, dreck, you could get it for pennies. He said that there was a huge surge in the Japanese interest in tongue a number of years back, and it was super hard to get them.
The Asian market is definitely, most of the tongues are sent to them. And what was a cheaper meat at one time now costs, my cost, like raw, this is before I do anything to it, $9 to $10 a pound.
Wow. So, that's almost like, that's more than burger meat.
Well, I should say burger meat used to be, something like $2 about, but burger meat has gone up to, because of the supply chain thing, has gone up to $4.50 to $5 a pound.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I would love to open up, maybe we can kind of get our kind of the view of everybody again, and let people share either a deli story we've got people who grew up in New York, we got people who grew up in Buffalo, we got people who grew up in LA. Maybe share like a deli, keep our stories short so we can enjoy our time with Ziggy. But let us hear a question that you might have from your deli days. So Justin, can you put us on gallery view again, and open?
We're on gallery view.
Oh, we are. Okay, great.
You have to select your own. Everyone has to select their own gallery on the right hand.
Got it. Okay.
My gallery view. Yeah.
Anybody have what did I just do? I just did something really strange.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I've got a question.
Yes, Mr. A.
We had a stepdaughter actually had COVID in Long Beach, and we ordered some chicken soup, matzo ball soup, and it saved the day for her and us. And I'm wondering if you're getting any orders for medicine, matzo ball medicine.
He missed it. He was down with you. He said it. You were down with the guy.
We're shipping a lot of soup and a lot of stuff like that through goldbelly.com.
Okay.
So I mean that we are, like I said, the shipping stuff. I mean, we've shipped so much to Orange County and all over California. It's been with people being locked in their homes. It's definitely accelerated our shipping business. So yeah, we ship everything. We ship matzo ball soup.
Okay. Carol says I missed. This is the second time that you've answered the same question.
No,
I'm having a driveway repaired. I was out talking to this guy about the guitar instead of chicken soup.
Your favorite turkey sandwich.
Ah.
You like so much, we can ship.
Okay, we'll do that offline.
That's great.
Or you can tell the story. It's a good story anyway.
There is a question here. Do you have any Jewish establishments in Austin that you can recommend us? There's some Austin people visiting us. that we can support the Jewish restaurateurs in Austin?
You know, there is a Jewish restaurateur. I don't know what Arlene's last name is. Her son used to be part owner of a thing called Moon Shadows or whatever it was. That's the only one I know that's owned. I don't know too many restaurateurs. Naturally, you know, there's no real delicatessen in Austin at this time. You know, that's the only one that comes to mind. But I'm sure there's other. You know who used to be owned, but I don't think he owns it anymore. I think he sold it. There was a guy that owned a very upscale restaurant called, is it Jeffries or Joffrey's or something like that? And he comes into the deli once in a while to eat. Very nice gentleman, but it was like an institution. It was kind of like a Mark's or a Tony's of Austin over there.
Any other memories of deli days, of questions, of things that you miss? Maybe Ziggy can.
Yeah, listen. You know, ask me any question you want. You know, if you want to talk about old stores, or if anyone's from New York, or if they have a question.
There, Marilyn, you gotta.
All right,
Yeah.
now.
When we were in Montreal, everybody said that we had to go to Schwartz's Deli.
Right.
And we went there in January and stood out in line in the snow for about 20, 30 minutes because there's always a line there.
Right.
Have you ever been to Schwartz's?
I have not been to Schwartz's. I have not. A friend of mine owns a deli in Montreal. They've had it for many, many years. And this is where Schwartz's is really a tourist trap, you know.
Oh, okay.
But where all the Jews really eat is a deli called the Snowden Deli. And his smoked meat is far superior than Schwartz's. But Schwartz's is a you know, it's been in business forever, and there's a mystique about it. You know what I mean?
It's
so
very small, and all the tables are all together. So I don't know how they're even going to do it up there.
Well, with COVID, no, a place like that, it's kind of like a Speedway store. It's very hard to figure out how to do it in a very safe.
Right.
You know, thank God I have a lot of real estate on Post Oak.
Yeah, we love Kenny and Ziggy's over there. There's lots of room to spread out.
So yeah,
I'm glad you're still in business. Thank you.
believe me, I'm glad I'm still in business too. Get to eat.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have curbside curbside pickup?
Yeah.
Okay.
We curbside the whole time.
Okay.
I'm doing that. I'm not letting people go to the deli counter for one reason
Okay,
only.
good.
People that are sitting on those, I don't want them to you know, be near anyone. So it's easier to call up, and we'll be glad.
Call from
You gotta. There's a question about a special kind of roll called a Kimmel Weck roll.
Call from
Kimmel Weck roll.
Okay, a Kimmelweck roll is a regular roll with caraway seeds and salt on top of it. And upstate New York, I think in the Buffalo region, they like that roll, and they put like roast beef on that sandwich.
That sounds delicious. Is it more of a Kaiser roll style, or is it a soft roll?
No, it's more of, it's a kind of combination of a soft and Kaiser. It's kind of mixed, but it has that salt and that caraway. I don't have that roll, but I'll tell you what I do have. The bagel supplier that I've been I moved to. Unfortunately, I had to switch bagel suppliers after 20 years. And this guy, I wish I would have known from him because he's phenomenal. This guy's an old bagel baker from New York, and he made me some Litvak style marble rye bagels with caraway seeds and salt on top of them. These Litvak bagels are the best bagel I've ever eaten in my life. We've been carrying them in the deli, letting people try them.
Yeah.
And it's the closest thing to like that type of roll. Not that there's rye in that roll, there isn't, but with the caraway seeds and the salt on top, and it's very tasty.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
We grew up
While we're on the topic of rolls, one of my favorite rolls in the country, and I'm pretty sure it's Wolfie's in Florida, in Miami, is that their soft onion roll.
Oh,
That soft. They serve them. You haven't even eaten breakfast yet. They put them out with the pickles, and you get these soft onion rolls. And I don't know how I ever had any room for my meal.
Well, we make those onion rolls at the deli, so we have those.
I don't know. I never saw them. The soft ones, like they're almost like.
Yeah, it's challah with basically the onions in the middle and on the top.
I've got to find those with some butter. I'm done.
Brisket sandwich on an onion roll or something. We have that all the time.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay.
A lot of those across the country.
Fantastic. So I saw somebody else had a question or a thought. Oh, there was a question about Barnum Bagels in Skokie. I don't know if you had heard of them.
I don't think Barnum and Bagels is in business anymore.
Ah.
I think they've been in business for the last over 25 years or more.
Yeah, there aren't very many delis left in Chicago. I'll tell you.
I think only Kaufman's is still operating. And
yeah, when I've done a couple of funerals up in Chicago, and Kaufman's is always the one that that's catering. My first job, well, I shouldn't say my first job, but my job right before going to rabbinical school was at the Carnegie Deli in Chicago. For a very brief time, they had a Carnegie Deli in the Bloomingdale's building. And I had a job there as a waiter. I tell you, it's much easier to serve people Torah than it is to serve them food. Let's see. I think I saw another hand go up, or I don't have my full screen here. Go ahead and let's see. Did somebody else have a question, a thought, a memory?
are you on?
I don't know if I'm on.
Leah does.
Oh,
hold on.
I got nothing.
Hey, Ziggy.
yes.
Hi. We were on a river cruise in Europe several years ago, and I watched your movie, The Deli Man, in my room while we were cruising, and it was so exciting. I never expected to see that in Europe.
Yeah, no, it's been shown a lot in Europe, and believe it or not, where The Deli Man was a big hit? In Australia and New Zealand.
No kidding. So I was pleasantly surprised. It was very good. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think Bruce,
Leah, do you have a question?
Bruce, you're on, and let's. Leah Parmesan had her hand up, but she's still muted. So Bruce, you go first, and then Leah.
Okay, this is a comment from a Buffalo boy about Kimmelweck, beef on weck. Wonderful roll. We tried to get them when we first moved to Texas, but we were told that the rock salt and the humidity doesn't work. It makes them soggy, and you can't keep them for any length of time. So that was the reason I was given that Kimmelweck doesn't work in Texas.
Well, right, Bruce, it's like salt bagels. You really have to eat the salt bagels. I mean, you basically get them like, the most a day. If you put any of those in like a plastic bag to keep them fresh, they sweat, and that's true. Absolutely.
I have to say, I'm so hungry after listening to this conversation now that I'm going to eat the computer. I'm not.
Justin, can you take Leah's, or Leah, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I can't get her unmuted.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I was in Paris. Since we were talking about places out of the country, you talked about Canada. I was in Paris. It was quite a few years ago in Le Marais, and I ate in a delicatessen called Goldbergers.
Yes, Goldberg's, yes.
Is it still around?
No, unfortunately, it's demise. Joe Goldberg, you know, there were a couple of locations they had. They had one near the Arc de Triomphe, and they had also one in the Marais. And they were wonderful delis, and they were, you know, not known like that. They were definitely more upscale compared to a New York delicatessen, but the stuff really wonderful. I mean, it was good. Joe Goldberg was actually very friendly with my father. And when I was cooking in Europe, my dad and mom came to visit me, and we went to Paris, and my dad took me into Joe Goldberg, and it was very nice. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, at that deli, there was an incident in, I want to say in the 70s, the 60s or the 70s, I think 70s, where ELO in the store, you know, they did a drive-by and they machine gunned the store. Thank God no one was killed, but that was a big incident. But it was a wonderful place, and unfortunately, like everything in Paris, the people that the relatives closed up the store, but the kids of the relatives all live in Israel now for safety.
Interesting. Let me ask you one more thing.
Sure.
I love your shakshuka. You make a pretty good shakshuka.
Yes.
I think that has a very good shakshuka too. But what they have is what you don't have, and that's Mediterranean foods. Would you consider adding more Mediterranean foods to your list?
I do. I've been experimenting before the COVID thing, doing a lot of stuff. Like, for example, we're making our own hummus, but we did a lot of it was an Israeli hummus, and the consulate loved our hummus. That no one made hummus like it. It was very lemony and it was very smooth. So we had that, and we were also doing baba ganoush, and we would do. We did some kebabs, like a shashlik, as well. But because, you know, a lot of the younger kids today, when they go on Birthright Israel, they experience Ashkenazic food. It's not like that in Israel anymore. It's more of the Middle Eastern style stuff. So yeah, we've been doing that once in a while as specials. And when COVID, you know, when we get this machine stuff over with, and they come up with some sort of therapy and a vaccine, then we can go back to experimenting and trying more.
Yeah, that's good. What's the difference between Borekas and Canisius? I know Borekas is a Sephardic version. What's the difference, though?
The difference between Borekas and Canisius, basically, I mean, the fillings are you know, I mean, Canisius, it's one is a triangle with sesame seeds on it. The other one's done in a different dough. The doughs are slightly different. You know, the Borekas, you know, they're both a flaky dough. They're just slightly different, but they're basically, I mean, potato Boreka to me tastes like a potato knish, but a triangle style. But you know, the Borekas, you know, a lot of them that have the feta cheese, which you don't find in like spinach or mushrooms and potato, you know, it's just a little bit different in the filling.
Great, thank you. One request and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Being a diabetic, I don't ever have any desserts at your place. Would you consider, I mean, a lot of Jewish people have diabetes. Would you consider having some sugar-free desserts?
I did. Let me tell you, I'll tell you a story. You know, everyone, have you ever had our apple pie?
I don't think so.
Okay, so our apple pie is, we put 11 pounds of apples from Medina, Texas, in our apple pie, and we made an apple pie where we didn't add any sugar to it. We made one sugar-free apple pie. So because this was like 18 years ago, and I get a phone call from this irate customer. He's like, I thought you made sugar-free apple pie, and I ordered a whole pie, and I ate half of the pie, and he goes, and my blood sugar is up. Sir, I don't add sugar to it, but you can't eat a half a pie. Basically, you it's of 5.5 pounds of apples in your system and not see any consequence. The whole idea is to eat it in moderation.
Oh, that's great.
You
We have
have-
that is a great. We have just a few more minutes left. During our coffee hour, I'm sure you have a lot to do to keep the deli business going. We're so blessed to have you here. We're so blessed to have you in the city. If you have a few comments that you want to share as we kind of say goodbye, and there is great. You have brought tremendous concern to at least those who have been on the call here about this shortage in cream cheese. I mean, I'm about to go hoard cream cheese now.
Listen, let's not do a toilet paper thing. Listen, Jews everywhere are going to start panicking. Do you have a question, ma'am?
I just wanted to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I just had a funny story. When we were on our honeymoon years ago in Acapulco, it was so hot there that I was just getting sick at my stomach. So we looked around and found a deli so that I could get some chicken soup.
Right.
And we found one.
Zibs.
Zibs. It was a long time ago. So yeah, we love coming to Kenny and Ziggy's I love the chicken soup with everything in it.
Oh, the mishmash, great.
Yes, the mishmash.
We are so blessed. Ziggy, let's let you have the final word here as we wrap up our coffee hour. We thank you so much for joining us today.
Listen, anytime you need me, don't hesitate to ask. It's I love your synagogue. It's the best.
We love you. We can't wait for the next deli Shabbat. We might just go back to. We're so starved for deli that we're going to have a deli gala.
I'm so grateful to the Jewish community. I mean, all restaurants are going through hard times. And I can't say enough of how our community is. And they have been supporting us. They have been coming out in droves. And it all helps because it's not about just keeping the restaurant going and everything. I have a lot of employees and they have families. And because of your support, these people can do and they can eat. And all together, I know this is time, but we can all get through it if we all help each other out. And I am so grateful and appreciative of everything the community has done to us. And I'm appreciative of also people around the whole country that have seen the Deli Man and movie and have done the same thing by ordering food and shipping. Father's Day's around the corner. People have been from Houston have been shipping stuff to their parents that they know their parents can't get out, which has been wonderful. But I am very grateful to our community. We have a very special community.
Amen to that. It's just great. And we've got a very special deli We are going to keep you rolling, and so we can keep our connection to Judaism through Jewish food alive. So we will just keep coming.
Thank you.
So thank you, Ziggy. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's great. Next week, we're going to, I think all of the members of HCRJ received, for 2 months in a row, a special coffee that we were calling Chazak ve'amatz, be strong and resolute as we go through this, from Katz's Coffee. We're going to have, brew yourself some of that Chazak ve'amatz coffee, and we're going to walk through the flavor profiles. I'm going to brew it in 2 different ways. I'm going to do it French press, and I'm going to do it drip, so that whoever's with us, I think Avi's going to join us, can kind of talk about the differences of that taste. So, and if you've already drank all your coffee, just make yourself whatever you like. But anyway, we'll be having our coffee talk and conversation next week, same time, 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and we'll explore the flavor profiles of coffee with the coffee master, Avi Katz. Love to see you all, and we're working really hard to get back in our building. It won't be too long before we have something live. We just, there are little spikes that we're concerned about, and we've worked through most of the details of services, most of the details of how to stream it, so you'll still be able to see it streamed, and all the security measures, just like Ziggy, you were inspirational as I heard you walk through the process of going into the restaurant. I was taking mental notes of what we might be missing of walking back into the sanctuary.
When you do your first live, Shabbat, you let me know, and I will supply all the oneg.
Oh my goodness! Wow. All right. I don't know if I want to advertise that, because then I might have a full house.
I'm not responsible for the social distancing aspect.
We'll sign waivers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's great to see everybody. Have a fantastic week, and thank you so much, Ziggy.
All right. You be well. Zay gesund to all of you, and be healthy.
Zay gesund.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
So great to see everybody. I'm so happy to see all of you.
Soon we'll be eating in your place. So there we go.
Zay gesund.
Zay gesund.